Ralph, can you hold the floor for a moment? I'm just going to get Alex over here to discuss a food thing. I just don't want to do that on stream because
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
local restaurants
Sure.
that would dox me if we. So hold the fort, sing a song. We'll be back in like 30
yeah.
seconds.
Do a dance.
I didn't think Battle Los Angeles would be great, but I mean, that movie fucking sucked. I watched a lot of Adventure Time when I was like, it was years ago, but I mean, I actually heard a Adventure Time movie came out recently, and I added that to my watch list. I think 2020 or 2021, something like that.
Yeah, I'm
Talk
back.
about Adventure Time.
Oh yeah.
There's a
What were
random
you
question
saying?
about Adventure Time. Yeah. I like it. It's
I've
good.
only seen like random episodes.
It's
I've
fun.
never committed to watching the whole thing. People seem to get really into certain
Yeah.
characters, like the Ice Queen. Who was voiced by SpongeBob.
Are you guys team wipe or no flush? Context pooping.
What are you talking
I
about?
don't understand. The options are you either wipe your ass or you just don't and also don't flush.
Yeah, what? Who's
Oh, here's a question for
anti-white?
you, Alex, actually. Are bidets common in the UK? I know they're kind of like a European thing, right?
When I was growing up, my nan used to have one in her bathroom, but it was kind of like a relic, and no one
Oh.
ever used it, and she eventually got it like removed.
Okay.
So not commonly.
All right.
It's not like what I
Interesting.
hear about like
Yeah.
what you can experience in Japan in terms of all these like water shots with the colors and the. You heard about this?
Oh, is it
You
like
can,
like a rainbow gamer computer bidet?
But
Like,
it's a
what are you
to-
talking
yeah,
about?
Yeah, basically.
That sounds great.
they're like-
I gotta. Ooh, I'm going on eBay.
Yeah.
Gonna have the gayest
Yeah.
bidet.
I've heard of those. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's a big Italian thing. It's in.
Oh,
it's in Italy,
hello
too.
Oh, really?
in the chat, Lord Bung.
Oh, hi,
Hello.
Yeah. Touch hands to prove you're actually in the same room.
Okay, we're gonna wait. See?
like this.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
No, don't worry, we got you covered.
Yeah, we got it. We're holding hands for this episode.
Yeah.
The first episode where we hold hands. Oh shit.
Don't fall over, Ralph. I know you're very excited and
Oh
drunk.
shit.
I know you're high out of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
mind right now.
It's
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Exactly. It's all
My
the
friend
alcohol.
keeps poisoning my other friends with superweed. It's what
Mm-hmm.
the Alex Jones superweed.
Super weed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I called it, and that's basically what it is. I don't think I undersold it, right, Alex?
You didn't undersell it.
You got way
and I
too
should
high.
have listened, yeah.
But you just mostly got quiet. It was really funny.
That's funny. That's funny.
I have this really weird thing with my brain where my subconscious is an asshole when it comes to me and dreaming a lot of the times. Like I
Okay.
have very vivid dreams. I know a lot of people don't like really remember their dreams. I remember a lot of my
Right.
dreams. And a lot of the times they're like awful depending on the circumstances of how I'm sleeping. And so obviously I slept on the plane on the way back here not too long ago. And I had a dream that I was in the same plane seat, but there was like the guy sitting next to me was this like huge, gross, sweaty, overweight, like tons of pimples, tons of moles. Basically didn't even have human form anymore. He was kind of like a blob. And he kept like trying to
Yeah.
get past me, and he would lift his arm up, but underneath his arm, his armpit hair was basically like a sword shape. Like it was like pointy. And he would like brush it past my face, and I was just like, nah, and I couldn't move. And I was like, oh no, and this guy was getting his armpits sweat all over my face. Then I was like, oh no, please stop. And I'm like lifting my arms up so that I don't get his armpit in my face. He's like, oh, what? So what are you trying to do? Like he kept getting offended by it. And then he put his hands in my mouth and just started like basically abusing and assaulting me. And this was all very vivid and real. And so it was incredibly traumatic. And I put my hands up and I would try pushing him away, like, please stop. And then as soon as I tried pushing the guy away, where I'm like, no, stop doing this, the person in the row in front of me in my dream pulls out their iPad and starts recording as though I'm like the aggressor. Like, oh, look at this fucking guy. Oh, we're going to make sure this goes online. I'm like, no. And it was
Jesus.
fucking awful. And that is the second worst dream I've had on an airplane, with the first being dreaming that the airplane I was on was crashing. That was
Oh, okay.
awful.
God, that's very dramatic.
I'd rather crash
Ugh.
than go through that.
Oh my
The
god.
guy was probably American. I know it was a dream, but it was probably an American.
It was stressful. So that
Mhm,
yeah,
I
that's
bet it was.
why I waited to tell you how my flight was, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2015, 2016, there was a huge backlash. A huge backlash against channels that did reaction videos. I know Alex has made videos on the topic in the past. Now, nearly 4 years later, reaction videos seem to be more common and not nearly as hated as it once was. My question is, how do you feel about the evolution of reaction videos compared to a couple of years back?
What?
Depends on how it's done, I guess. Yeah, there's I guess reaction content. You remember back in the day with like Jinx? That was like a whole like controversy
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's kind of resurfaced. I think it was a few months ago. There was like a Hassan clip that was going around
Where he
like,
leaves.
left the room.
And just lets the
Yeah.
video play.
That kind of stuff's a bit silly to me. It's, I don't
Yeah.
know, kind of bending the,
I mean, there's a lot of
you know.
Twitch streamers don't get hit as hard with like DMCA and copyright claim shit. Like they don't have the content ID system as hard. Like it's a different system and it gets utilized differently. And so a lot of Twitch streamers, a lot of popular ones, are kind of doing shitty things where they're like just testing the limits. They're like, I'm going to watch full episodes of Naruto, like, and just spend the whole day
Or like
like
Jim Can't Swim videos and stuff like that.
I mean, at least with YouTube content creators like JCS, at least that's other internet content where you can be like, oh, contact them on Twitter. Hey, do you care if people watch content like this? And they go, no, I like it when people share my stuff. I like it when, me personally, if you want to watch any one of my YMS reviews or anything on your stream, go for it. I don't mind the publicity. I don't feel like I'm being stolen from. However, when you're doing that with like anime where you know that they're not going to be okay with it, and like if they do want to crack down on it, that's how you get more strict rule enforcement, is by pushing it like that. Like, come on, Pokimane, fuck, why are you doing that? And then Hassan, like,
Well, she was watching Naruto.
what was it, Naruto or another anime? Like she was watching like full episodes of it, like television.
Really?
Yeah.
What, like showing it on screen and
Yeah.
everything?
There's like a bunch of Twitch
Oh.
streamers that were doing that shit. Yeah. It was like a part of the meta. It was just like watching anime or something.
Yeah, that's bad.
It was ridiculous. And then, yeah, Hassan,
Oh.
I just don't respect intellectually. So I just, yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be like the rise of Twitch type thing. I don't know. When you are watching like the entirety of a Gym Can't Swim, it depends on your engagement too. Like, what, are you commenting on it? Are you pausing it to talk about your feelings on it? Are you turning it into something
Yeah.
else?
Live streaming content is definitely different and requires like a different thought process in terms of like how much content you use, because if you're reacting to something live, you don't necessarily know how much of the original content you're going to be reacting to, right? And so like
Yeah.
I'm fine with watching stuff on stream and reacting to it. What I've been doing, shout out to my new channel called YMS Watch-Alongs. What I've been doing is I've been watching films, the types of films that it wouldn't matter if I was watching with an audience, but I don't show it on the screen. I just have like a countdown timer, and I have, you can sync it up on your end. You can watch it on Netflix or whatever, and it doesn't matter how much I react to it because all I'm broadcasting is my reaction. It doesn't matter how.
Yeah, it's more like a live commentary track type
Yeah,
thing.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I
That's a commentary.
that's pretty
yeah.
guilt-free for me, and I don't feel like, yeah. But then there's other stuff I do where like I'll react to like a Darman or Generation Hope video, and I'm showing like the whole thing, but I'm pausing every like 30 seconds because there's so much to talk about that it inevitably, it is inherently a different product that I'm offering, because it's impossible to experience the original in the way that it was originally intended, with me constantly making criticisms to everything, So, yeah, it really depends. If the YouTube creator or whoever makes the content, if they're cool with it, you just like watching through the whole thing and eating a bag of chips, then great. If you want to do that with my content, please do. Just proper credit,
Yeah, I
Cool.
guess it's the credit thing that's important. Like, it shouldn't be the assumption to not do that, or to only address it like when you upset someone? The standard, I guess, should be more so to try and contact first,
and then,
like, especially if it is like watching entire gym can't swims or something.
Yeah, and preferably if you do that, maybe don't do the YouTube upload in its entirety, because that's where it gets really dicey. Where it's like, okay, well, people are searching.
But at least edit out all of the like
dead
bits, you know.
Get your free editors that you had to get bullied into paying, Hassan. Get your free editors to cut out the parts where you're eating where you leave the room.
Yeah.
You socialist that had to get
up.
bullied into paying your editors. Like, what the fuck is... Oh, Jesus Christ. Apparently, I'm more socialist than a person that calls himself a socialist.
Yeah, that's just embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't care about your house. I care that you had to get bullied into paying your editors.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember the time when reaction videos were so oversaturated. It was just like all over YouTube, to where that's like all that was on the front page or whatever. And I felt like there was other content out there that was better or deserved more of a spotlight than that. And now I think that problem's kind of fixed, so I don't really have an issue with it. You know, react whatever the fuck you want. It's like other content.
Really, I feel like it's just kind of accepted now. Like once
it used to be a little more obnoxious, I feel.
Once like PewDiePie started doing like meme reactions and like meme compilation video, you know, like just like basically scrolling through like TikTok pretty much, or like Instagram Reels or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's
I just
like
think
a
of Fine
huge
Bros.
market.
Yep.
Like I hated those reaction videos. And what even happened to them? Are they here?
Everything on the internet is so fucking derivative. You know, everybody's just making content about content about content about content, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Just try to make sure that the people creating things aren't getting cucked out of.
Lots of great movies are derived of other great movies. Everything all at once has references to 2001 and
Joker.
Joker rips off Taxi Driver and King of Comedy and other Martin Scorsese movies. Yeah, whatever happened to the Fine Bros? Are they like still around? Like,
I'm sure they're still doing this.
They got embarrassed too hard and are still making content, but are not.
Oh, they are. It's called React. I just remember that whole Ellen thing.
Ellen thing?
Or them trying to copyright the term react.
Yeah, that was
the big one.
Really lame.
Yeah, because Ellen was making reaction videos and they were trying to like copyright it. Yeah. That was really lame, yeah. And now Ellen got canceled, but like, so who cares? But
yeah, there's a bunch of crazy people that exist that don't know.
It's a different time. Like the reaction video era was like that's gone. I feel like that kind of shit. There's still reaction videos, but they're different.
You think so? I feel like it's bigger than ever. It's just like changed how it's delivered.
Yeah, they're different to me.
It depends on it for streamers.
It's not controlled by the Fine Bros. It's like it's more just like people get to watch things and react to them like normally, which I think is fine. There was just like this oversaturated, annoying culture of it, like at that time.
Yeah, you don't pay a bunch of annoying college kids to pretend The Lion King is live action.
And then like people would make videos and they were like React girls and all that shit. Oh my god. Like,
Reply girls?
Reply girls.
Yeah.
That's what they were called.
Oh yeah, those.
Reply videos. It's just like, stuff like that. Yeah, I feel like it's like better to react to things now. The videos are not obnoxious. But although what you're describing sounds kind of annoying, like people uploading whole episodes of anime or whatever.
That's crazy. Yeah, like
when you're leaving the room, that's
you can get away with it on Twitch.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, Twitch you can seem to get away with that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that's just nuts. I would just not want to do that. You know.
Mm-hmm. Someone reviewed Lover, and he like his review was basically he screen recorded him watching it on Vimeo, and he paused it to like make commentary. I'm like, and it's like a 2-hour long video. I'm like.
Oh.
Fuck you. Go fuck yourself.
That's kind of
and now, so he took the video down and uploaded it in 3 parts. So it's the same video. It's just in 3 parts. That guy's a fucking asshole.
Loophole.
Yeah, like, that's not okay. Fuck you.
Yeah. You wouldn't be doing that with like a Paramount Pictures Viacom feature. You know?
Yeah.
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 Big lawyers.
Yeah. That's not a review. That's you watching the movie and then pausing it to say stupid shit. Like that's not a review. It takes no thought or effort to do that or editing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Not too transformative, it sounds.
at all.
No.
Oh.
Did I ever tell you that I fell asleep in the film titled Awake? And I
was
realized
that
how funny it
intentional?
was when I woke up. No, it wasn't intentional. It was just so boring. It had Jessica Alba and then Hayden Christensen.
Mm-hmm.
It was really bad. And I legitimately fell asleep in that movie, and I woke up and I started laughing.
Isn't she in a coma, or someone's in a coma in that
Yeah.
movie? And they could hear everything.
It's a horror-ish
that.
kind of movie, and it's like, oh, she has locked-in syndrome, and the anesthetics aren't working. But then it takes it so much further than just being a simple concept, and there's this whole dumb fucking like, oh, but secretly it's all part of a conspiracy thing in it. And I was like, oh fuck, I fell asleep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it was really boring.
Are you calling me stupid? No, I'm kidding. Our fans want us to fight. They're so fucking obnoxious.
I'm so mad at you now.
Oh, fuck
You recommended
asshole.
a movie that I thought was good, but
How
not as
fucking
great
dare
as you. I am the stupid baby now.
Whatever.
Drama Mondays.
Okay. I was watching the behind the scenes, and they basically train the actors, like, you know, with firearms and like certain, you know, gun training. Basically, they did firearm training and tactical maneuvers, and they also had the actors go into the bank. I believe the bank they used in the movie might have been a different one, and like actually scope out the bank while it was like operational. So they went into the bank, they you know, got a mortgage or whatever, talked to the bank teller, and like, but they were actually scoping out the bank in a way that a bank robber would, and it was like to prepare them for the scene when they were actually doing it. Sorry, Adam just said this just made the great ass thing. You just send a gif of it.
Well, it's the clip I just posted, although the thumbnail has the great ass part. It's Al Pacino in an interview saying how to get in character in some scenes, he actually just did cocaine. Which
really?
is great. Yeah, he was just on cocaine for a lot of the movie.
Yeah, the character's a coke addict.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's why he acts like a fucking nut. Like, but yeah, he has like this funny moment. Yeah.
She got a great ass. And you got your head all the way up it.
I really want to get... So, Jordan Peele's films have all had some sort of racial commentary. And it's clear that this does as well, to me. I have not thoroughly researched any of these conversations online. I don't know how many people it wasn't like on my Twitter feed, and I didn't look it up, but I would love to, I guess, dive into or try to dissect exactly what he's going for here, because here's some of the things that really stuck out to me when I was watching the film is the creature, the way it looks, the way it like kind of opens its mouth or whatever we're going to call it, looks exactly like an old film camera, like lens looking at you, like the square.
Yeah.
Obviously, the characters are the first black horse people that had horses for movies. I forget the official title of them, but that was heavily emphasized. When Stephen Yun talks about the aliens before he's doing the show, he uses a very particular word. He doesn't say the watchers. He says the viewers. I call them the viewers. Like that's a very particular thing to say. That is very clearly when you're calling the aliens the viewers, like there's some commentary being made on media here. And I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like, is it just like it's sucking up people, like everybody it's sucked up is not black, or like what media wants, or there's like disparity in terms of how people are represented in media. Like I don't have a clear answer of what it's going for. Maybe I have to watch it a second time, but there's something clearly there, right? I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, yeah, sure. That's what's so cool about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because the opening credits were from the perspective of inside the ship looking out as well.
Yeah,
so it's like
and you don't know that yet. Like when you see it the first time, you're like, "What is that?"
Yeah, you have no idea what it means. But it's also a film about exploitation as well, and like spectacle. There's the whole kind of B plot with the with the
Yeah.
chimp from the old kind of 80s sitcom, and all of that just feeds into the exploitation and just this obsession humans have with like this kind of media, this kind of wanting to document everything and use like animals or whatever to achieve what like just kind of mindless entertainment.
True.
And that's kind of the horror of that chimp scene.
And I guess with them being like, you know, horse wranglers and stuff, that kind of fits into that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because that's the point of like Steven Yeun's like character. He kind of misinterprets the whole like chimp experience as an exploited like child actor, and he thinks he has this connection with this chimp, and that he, as a result, as an adult, thinks he can kind of control the alien in a similar way he could like bond with the chimp, and it's like all about the relationship of the like trying to control like predators or nature or whatever you want to describe it. Whereas the lead character, he has like a different relationship with animals. Like he respects them in a different way, and he knows they can't really be controlled in the same way, and you got to
true.
treat them differently and understand what they are.
Yeah.
You see that in the beginning scene, like when they're filming, like Daniel Kaluuya's there with the horse on set. They're all white on set, and yeah, like they're trying to control the animal. It doesn't respond well.
Yeah.
They're not respecting it.
And he's telling them like, don't go behind it. Like, you know, try to respect.
Yeah, well, that scene is great. They
space.
like set up so much, like in that scene, that you don't even realize. Like they set up the cinematographer, who I didn't realize would come back in the film later.
Yeah. They made sure to like emphasize him.
I guess if you saw the trailer, it's like one shot. They set up the reflection thing.
Yeah, the reflection. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, like if you look at the animal or if you look at the UFO, it like agitates it.
Yeah.
I like the UFO doesn't really have like a purpose to it. Like it's not explicitly explained. It's kind of like going on instinct. It's going like,
It's just an animal, just a territorial creature. It's decided it wants to live there, and it's just gonna eat whatever comes near it.
Right.
Which is horrifying.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out and see. I want to get your thoughts on the connection between the B plot chimpanzee show and the actual alien UFO whatever events, because there are ways in which it's kind of implied that there's some sort of connection there. There was that like weird shoe that was standing
You're talking
upright.
about the shoe, yeah.
Yeah, like that was
Miracle.
something that
Yeah.
it focused on and was like, okay, well, wait, is there some sort of, supernatural thing happening at this moment that's causing the chimpanzee to be agitated, or like what's happening there?
Maybe.
And then there was also a clip that Jordan Peele posted on Twitter, which maybe was a deleted scene or extra footage or something, but essentially it was a fake intro opening theme song for that fake TV show. And at the end of the credits for the fake TV show, it had the little boy and the chimp giving each other a fist bump. But what they were doing is they were looking into a telescope, like up at the stars sort of thing. So for it to end in that way, like maybe he's just like, kind of being cheeky, like tying it into his like space movie sort of thing. But I'm wondering what you think about like what the connection is between, or like what the implied connection is between the show and the alien events. Like what is he saying? Do you have any ideas? Or I'm going to watch it again, I guess. But
Yeah, I think it's about kind of like what I was sort of getting at with the like trying to control animals or the misinterpret. What do they call it? A bad miracle.
Yeah,
There's
that's
like a
what they
line at
say.
some point in the movie, kind of feeding into Steven Yeun's character as a kid, maybe misinterpreting these ideas and assigning too much value, and because he does take kind of the totally like wrong, like sickest, most kind of greedy like takeaway from the experience and turns it into this like amusement park basically, and it's all about just the exploitation of it and the crossover of a chimp kind of being abused for entertainment, and then like all these characters chasing this this thing that does turn out to also be like a kind of dangerous predator that needs to be respected.
Yeah.
That's the kind of crossover I see.
There's a couple things I was a bit confused by in the movie. Like I don't remember if it's because I went to the bathroom at the wrong time or what happened, but I was hoping you could help fill me in. So in the context of the show that Steven Yeun is doing, was the implication that like he was successfully able to like show a crowd alien things at any point, or was it like he was doing a fake thing and then they really showed up?
I don't know if that's really clear.
I was also a bit confused on that as well. He was kind of making out that he was saying that every Friday it showed up and maybe you could see it fly in the distance or something.
Maybe something like
it was
that.
definitely like that was the first time it had like abducted a large group of people in that kind of way.
Or like came that close, I guess, even.
Yeah. Because he has a line about how like this hasn't happened before or something like this. But you'd also imagine that there'd be a much bigger crowd if he'd been doing this and showing it off for weeks and weeks, whereas the crowd's kind of pointed out to be pretty slim pickings. So maybe it was more vague.
Yeah. And then what exactly was the cloud also? What did that turn out to be? I think I missed that part.
I think that is the ship.
The cloud was kind of like a camouflage.
Just for the alien? So like the cloud was
itself.
Just the alien hanging out there in one spot?
Or whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it, like in the deep ocean or whatever, like an octopus can like camouflage into whatever. I saw it as like a natural kind of phenomenon like that.
Right. Okay. You really unique design of that ship. Like I like
it looks cool.
Like kind of a cloth it's made of. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really interesting.
I like the colors too.
Yeah, I looked up who designed it, and it was this aeronautics engineer who reverse engineers jellyfish, and you can like that when I read that made it make a lot of sense to me, because I was seeing all these like kind of deep ocean like natural like patterns in the way like it's like a big reveal the way it unfolds towards the end and kind of starts gliding around, and it's like
it's very mesmerizing.
It's no longer the
it is like something you see like a sea creature that's like really hidden deep in the ocean. It is like
exactly
it's something like that. Like it feels kind of real. One of the more things I was confused about was like toward the end with the cinematographer. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, why did he like suck him like intentionally?
I think it was to get the shot
in the ship. Yeah, it was partly that, right? He says like, it's what's the term for it? It's like sunset hour, like
golden hour
lighting.
Golden hour. Yeah,
it's like the perfect lighting for that. So he's like, I gotta get the shot right. So it's like, but it's also kind of like he went crazy, like he just snapped and like
but as he walks away, he's saying like we don't deserve this or something along those lines. So I wasn't sure if because I thought like, is his plan to get the shot while going up, and then when it spits out,
like hopefully someone gets the footage,
maybe they're able to salvage it.
Yeah, but that didn't work out for him. That's why I was like, because it just spits it out, right? And then the footage is all destroyed. Like, definitely that footage got destroyed.
He was a kook. He was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like he just lost it. I guess he was sick of like editing all that old footage of like, octopuses on like sea creatures, like or whatever. There's something like that going on there.
God,
I think it's supposed to be kind of vague. There's like so many vague elements of it, and like, but there's a lot of like dialogue in this movie that's like exposition, but you don't really like pick up on it. But there's like so much
nice
going on in the dialogue that's like explaining things, and like you don't even notice it necessarily.
Especially because the two leads have such great chemistry. They really sell it.
Great,
and they've got a great dynamic because with Daniel Kaluuya, he's like really underplayed and compared to his sister, who's really vibrant, and she's got all these like eccentric costumes and outfits. I mean,
he doesn't have a lot of dialogue, which is great. And he's like very understated. And Keke Palmer's very like animated.
Yeah. Great opening scene as well. I love the whole. What is it like the Penny killing his dad and how like tragic and strange. And mysterious is.
Speaking of The Thing,
true.
He was good. Very briefly in it.
I was like, what? You're in this movie? I
didn't expect him to die that quick. And it was brutal. Like it was blood shooting out of his eye in the car.
Yeah, when he's in the car.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like so much. There's so much going on in it. It's so dense. Every frame is so much going on. George Lucas. Except good.
I don't know. Like, and then I wonder if there's like significance to it, like killing him through his eye when we're talking about like viewer and like that's kind of from a viewfinder sort of thing. Like watching, like there's more to chew on here,
Or if that was just like random.
Sure.
Or if like maybe Keith David looked up at the sky.
One of the posters is just like a horse's eye and the reflection of like through that,
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know if you've seen the poster with like Stephen Yeun like looking up. Like, but his hat, if you look at it,
Okay,
it basically just looks like the UFO in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, only on the poster.
Let's see.
Yeah, it just looks like the UFO is floating above his head. Hey, maybe I could pull it up here and just send it.
Yeah, I do really like those posters of all the characters looking up. It's all immediately intriguing.
I love. There's a lot of really, really cool visuals in this, and yeah, that one scene particularly with, the interior of people getting like digested and shit. I was like, whoa, that's pretty scary. Like that's pretty terrifying.
Oh yeah,
like you're fucked. You're absolutely.
That's genuinely horrifying. Claustrophobic and really good sound design.
Like no hope.
Yeah,
like Jesus.
And as it's kind of like gliding around, and you can hear the like screams, like an amusement park, like coming from the hole. It's like really fucked up.
That would be like, honestly, that's no matter how I die, I don't want there to be a bunch of like screaming people around me. That's just so uncomfortable. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like screaming people. It's very disturbing.
Yeah, and I guess
it's really dark. There's like it's like an audience of like children. There's like the girl from the flashback who had her face ripped off.
Oh,
and
just a bunch of random families there.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's scarier to me than anything in his previous movies. Like that's some existential, like horrifying, like being eaten by a bear, like type of fear.
Yeah, it has like an esophagus, like.
Eaten by a large gay man.
Recently, Criterion announced that they're putting a 4K release of Pixar's WALL-E in the collection, with this being the first Pixar film ever to be put in the collection. With this release, do you think that this is Criterion opening up the collection for more modern and accessible films? And if so, what are some modern/popcorn blockbuster movies that you feel deserve the Criterion treatment? Thanks for all the great content. Love you guys.
Fucking Parasite was already in there, so to claim that the WALL-E is the first modern and accessible film, I'm not sure. Fucking Michael Bay,
Uncut Gems,
didn't they have like The Rock and Armageddon at one point in the Criterion collection? Like this isn't the first like popular movie that they've put in there. So I don't know why people are. I think the fact that it's like Disney and animated and Pixar is what's making some people weirded
over
out
like
about
100 million. I mean, I think WALL-E made much more than any of the movies we're mentioning, like Uncut Gems or whatever. Maybe. I wonder what just that one.
You can just not buy that one if you don't. They're still putting other movies in the collection.
Yeah, I'd understand caring if they just stopped doing the old movies and only started doing like Marvel movies. Weird. Then maybe there'd be a problem on your hands. But, if it's just WALL-E, like it's one of the most like beloved Pixar movies. And just gets like more and more relevant as the days go by. So
it's not. It's a very critically well received movie. Regardless of what anybody thinks about it, it's it doesn't feel out of place in the collection in terms of like critical response for sure.
You could do Ratatouille.
I would love a Ratatouille Criterion.
Rat-a-tap-tap.
And then we could have Ratatouille. And
then we could put the Asylum movies in Criterion.
Oh my god, yeah. The Video Brincato collection.
That'll be a day. When they add Asylum movies to the Criterion collection, that'll be a day.
I would like to see Good Time in there. It seems like they have every other Safdie film.
Yeah, Good Time's
like, what the fuck?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want a Hanky Chan collection.
I don't know. Not sure. Crank. I want Crank and Crank 2 in the Criterion collection.
I want a Crank 3 to exist.
Well, we'll get to that. But first we need the Criterions of the first two.
Yeah.
It's time.
What's funny is like they do have... There's this weird distinction between like what is schlock and what is art. Because like... they have a few John Waters films in the collection right now. And it's like, well, some of those films... Like, they pushed boundaries, but they also just existed to gross people out, and that's all he cared about to some extent. Was like, I'm making something disgusting, and when someone vomits in my theater, I'm gonna laugh. And like, it's just like, what sort of cultural impact did it have at the time?
That's how Crank is. Crank is pure art.
You know, it's weird how we categorize
Yeah.
things in certain ways. Like John Waters is like an auteur. It's like, okay, in ways.
I guess it's just expected with like Criterion's whole kind of brand image they've built over time. Like they're just associated with the lesser known kind of films. So it was inevitable that people were going to get upset.
The thing is, I think people are scared because it's Disney, and Disney is like this huge thing. But technically, there's already a lot of other Disney films in the Criterion Collection because Disney owns Fox. You know, Searchlight Pictures did like the overwhelming majority of Wes Anderson's films. All of those are in the Criterion Collection except Isle of Dogs. So, like, Disney already has a bunch of films in the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
You just didn't notice.
Yeah, I'd be more upset if it was like Wreck-It Ralph 2 getting
Yeah.
the Criterion.
I'd be interested. There's been worse animated movies in the Criterion Collection. There was that, what was it called? It was like some weird Digimon ripoff from like 2009. And like, it was made by some random Japanese like artist that decided to direct the movie. And I forget what it was called.
This sounds crazy.
They made it. Yeah. It was a weird one to put in the collection for sure. It was like, why? Somebody in the comments will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wall-E is not like the breaking point. It's just people who don't notice other things now getting the most obvious form of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they can put some Spielberg movies in there, or even early M. Night movies. Like not The
If
Happening.
they put Jaws in Criterion, that'd be dope. I would love to see a Jaws Criterion.
Yeah, they could do that, or like Sixth Sense,
Course.
and what's the other one?
M. Night
With
Collection.
Bruce Willis.
Unbreakable.
Yeah, they could do that too. Unbreakable. Yeah, they could do those. Those are good movies. Even Signs is like kind of well received. I mean, I would love a Happening Criterion, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Last Airbender Criterion.
Old Criterion. Yeah.
Old Criterion.
Neil Breen Collection.
Criterion, yeah. I want a Twisted
That would be
Pair.
groundbreaking.
Yeah, Criterion. I'd feel happy for him.
Yeah, Who Killed Captain Alex Criterion. That's the one.
And I
want.
think it honestly deserves to be there. I think Neil Breen honestly deserves his films in the collection.
Yeah. Give him one at least.
Birdemic Criterion.
No.
I think they're making a Birdemic 3.
It premiered at like I think
Yeah,
South
I
by
saw the
Southwest
poster.
or Fantastic
Oh.
Fest or something. So yeah, it already premiered.
Yeah,
once.
the poster. Yeah, the poster's better than like every Marvel movie poster I've seen recently.
Yeah,
It's funny.
a weirdly good poster.
It's like actually trying. Like I saw something like this poster goes hard. I'm like, yeah, it's better than
Yeah.
fucking half the posters I see. The floaty head. At least it's not a floaty head poster. That's like all they do now.
With like
Floaty
25
head.
actors, you feel like,
Yeah, fucking 50 actors that are in the movie. Is John Favreau floaty head, Tom Holland floaty head, Mark Wahlberg floaty head, I like the Uncharted one. Everyone's a floaty head.
Ew.
Yeah, it's just lazy.
And then Alex, you
Yeah.
still have a monarchy for some reason.
Yeah, it is weird getting used to saying that we have a king now. That makes it sound even more like out of date.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
crazy. As far as how it affected like my movie going experience, I went to see Bodies, 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 and I think it was like the day after it happened or something, that it happened being the Queen dying. And like the ads played as normal and the movie was about to start.
Oh no.
And then a portrait of the Queen flashes on the screen, just in complete silence.
She's haunting you.
It's like yeah, but it was like such a. I don't think anyone in the audience was expecting it.
That's when you clap.
'Cause, you know, you're like, yeah, it's like so. It's complete silence. A couple sniggers. People were like, they were like waiting for their like horror movie. You know, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's like nothing to do. It's like completely detached. So it was like a really weird like moment for me.
That's
where
very
I kind of
funny.
came home as like how bizarre this is. Like, what do you want me to do in response to seeing this? It's really quite
Yeah.
Yeah.
strange.
All of this happened when I was at TIFF, and my parents had the television on because I do TIFF with my parents because they live in a different province. We like to do that together every year. and they have the television on as like background noise or whatever, like in between movies while we're like grabbing a bite at the Airbnb or whatever. And it was just non-fucking stop, like the entire like rest of the time that we were in Toronto for like weeks, or it felt like we were there for like another week and a half after she died, and it was just like non-stop, like, what are we gonna do? And it's like, this is Canada. Like, I guess, yeah, technically we're a part of the monarchy, but it's like, what's really the issue here? Like, what are we gonna do? The Queen's dead. It's like, oh no, she was responsible for so much. The society's gonna collapse.
Isn't it? It's like, yeah, it's part of the design of the monarchy.
Such a tragedy to die at like 90-something years old, having like all that wealth in your life, just going to parties on other people's taxpayer money. Oh, what a tragedy! You died at like the oldest a human could possibly hope to live for. Wow, it's such a tragedy.
Yeah,
a peaceful, privileged death.
Yeah, it was a weird one. Yeah, I always forget about like how many royalists there are out there.
It's crazy.
I'm not really included in it, but man, people they're really attached to these ideas.
It's It's really it really just goes to show how much tradition and norms and taboo and societal expectation plays a role in people's lives. Like, as individuals, we don't think that that's the case. As individuals, we all have our own minds, but then you look at human beings as like numbers and statistics. It's like, holy shit, there's a lot of you. Like, maybe I just don't interact with you on a daily basis because you can choose who you interact with. But like, holy shit, normie world, it's crazy. Can't believe it.
Normie world. Yeah, no, because now and again we'll see like polls of people who support the royal family, and it's still pretty split down the middle. It's not like, it depends on age groups, but like,
yeah,
broadly, there's still an overwhelming amount of support for the concept, which is kind of mental to me.
Normie world.
So is your country just shutting down, or what? Is it ever going to recover?
Well, I was always told or read that you got like 5 days off when the Queen dies, but it turned into just the day of the funeral was a bank holiday. So,
was that like a promise? Like, was that a thing that you're supposed to get, or was that just a rumor? Or like, do you know?
I don't know. Around, because it was also her jubilee, like earlier in the year, and I read some article that was like, in case of the Queen's death, that here's like a compilation of things that are supposed to happen or things that might happen, because of course it's been so long since a royal family member like at the top has died, so like the protocol might have changed since then, but yeah, it only wound up being 1 day off as opposed to the week I was promised. So
she ruled from Winston Churchill to Liz Truss.
Yeah, she's seen some crazy, or she'd seen some. So, yeah, the degradation over time of.
She didn't do much, but we really needed her.
Clearly,
Normie World sounds like a theme park that should open. Sounds like Clark Griswold should like be going there.
Yeah,
that's all I had to add. Yeah,
David Lynch's Dumbland.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen that. I don't know if I even should.
Dumbland.
Yeah, that's the world is different, I guess.
No, it's not.
Everything's changing, but it's the same, I guess.
Nothing changes. It's the same shit.
Well, I really, really love and appreciate movies that are written in ways where everything fits like part of a puzzle. And this is a film where, watching it recently, because I hadn't seen it in a while, I was able to pick up on so much more of just how everything connected and how everything was like purposeful, especially in terms of like the thematic elements, because you got the main character who says that he wants to live his life through these other beings, sort of thing, like the puppets that he has. He's able to express himself more in that way, and then once he's in John Malkovich's body and controlling him, we see that he's much more confident and that he's actually able to talk to Catherine Keener's character actually able to talk to her and communicate with her in a way that's not like complete cringe like the first half of the movie, where he's like the most awkward incel type ever, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to the elements like I love that it's a puppeteer that winds up being able to control John Malkovich. Like, that makes sense because he's so used to manipulating other bodies already that works logistically for this fantastical idea, this weird concept that they've created. That fits. There's also, if you think about, I think her name's Maxine, Catherine Keener's character.
Yeah.
If you think about her character and her motivations, she's figuratively puppeteering other people. Like, everything is about controlling and puppeteering. She gets off on it. And we get that from her character before there's even any element of like John Malkovich portal sort of thing. Like, she loves manipulating and controlling. Like, when they meet in the bar and she's like, oh, you just have to admit it, you want to fuck my tits. And then she finally gets him to admit it, and she's like, yeah, not happening. And she just loves that she can control him. That's all she wants. And that plays into her motivation of, like, her loving the idea of being able to control more than one person simultaneously. It's like, oh, two people looking at me and loving me through the same set of eyes. And then she's like, oh, yeah, well, I can control John Cusack and he can control John Malkovich and I can control everything. And so in a way, she's her own kind of puppeteer. And I think it's brilliant and really thoughtful. There's so many parts of the movie that you almost feel are throwaway lines. And we get asked this question quite a lot, or I do anyway. I know we've been asked this on the podcast before about, like, what is the difference between good and bad reincorporation? And to that, I would say that good reincorporation is something that you don't expect will come back later. And when it comes back, you're like, okay, that fits and that makes sense. And so there's supposedly, seemingly throwaway lines in this film that do come back later. Like when John Cusack is saying, consciousness is a terrible curse. I think, I feel, I suffer. And the curse of being conscious is what he is actually subjected to at the end of the film. He's limited to just purely consciousness and nothing else. So it's like his character wasn't really appreciating not just him being consciousness, but him having, I guess, agency and control over what he was doing. Whereas at the end of the film, he's limited to just purely consciousness and nothing else. There's the line about the chimpanzee character, and they were just saying, like, oh yeah, he's got like post-traumatic stress disorder or whatever. And you think it's just like one of those like tiny funny things, but then it actually plays into the plot, and we get the chimp flashback, and it's like, oh, we're actually seeing what gave him PTSD, and it, he winds up freeing Cameron Diaz's character. And so everything is just like, it's so tight. It's so neat. It's just, nothing is wasted. And I love scripts like that. I love movies like that. It's just, I appreciate it so much. There's so much about this movie that is like, even from the directing, like, who knows if these elements were in the script or not, but there's like a lot of nice subtleties. Like the scene where they're out drinking at the carrot juice bar or whatever, and it doesn't really we don't get a close up of this. We're just able to notice it, but the scene starts and we see that Lester's finished his carrot juice and John Cusack's character has like not even touched it before he leaves, even though there's been like plenty of passage of time. I love little details like that, and it adds to the character, it adds to the scene, it adds to the context.
Yeah, he definitely has a special lens that he presents his stories through. He's clearly very intelligent and very empathetic.
Yeah, very thoughtful, very creative. Yeah. His ideas are so meta, and
he understands people.
Yeah. Clearly, I mean, to some degree, yeah. We even get that through some of the writing of dialogue, like just the awkwardness of how John Cusack's character is played in the first third of the film. There's scenes where it's so delightfully awkward, but not in a like weird kind of like not in kind of like a stereotypical Judd Apatow comedy awkward kind of way, but in a Coen Brothers-esque kind of way, where it's like, okay, I don't know how you wrote that. You must have just heard someone say it.
Like this must have been plucked from real life or something, because no one would
Yeah.
think of that, but it still seems natural the way it's said. Like when he was the way he was phrasing his conversation when he was trying to talk to Maxime for one of the first times, like, "Oh, I work at this place. Where are you starting to work?" Just like the way it was phrased, just these weird little details where it's like, okay, you're delightfully awkward, but who can write that? You know, it's like it's a weird writing challenge in a way to like actually get yourself in the mind of a character who would talk like that or say something like that, where it's not like a typical thing that anyone would ever say. There's a detail that I really enjoyed of like him literally playing a tape recording of an audience cheering, which is just a very succinct kind of like neat way of introducing his goals and motivations as a character, which obviously comes back into play later. Like he wants to be famous for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that in of itself, like, not the most incredibly unique or creative idea, but it's just a nice little thing so that we don't have to be beaten over the head with it, I guess. It perfectly establishes it right away. And that's very important in terms of writing, is getting the basics covered, which is why Artemis Fowl was such a shit movie, is because there are things happening in that film that are just like, you know, scenes of exposition where they could be plucked out of any other movie, but they didn't cover the basics first. So nobody gives a shit about anything that's happening. Like you didn't cover the basics.
They don't contextualize anything.
Right? You gotta get those out of the way in the first part of the movie so that people care about what's going on. I have one tiny little nitpicky criticism about the presentation of the film. And it's within that scene where we first get into Malkovich's head, is the mirror shot.
Mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can tell it's at
Yeah,
an
I noticed
angle,
that.
whereas if they had a higher budget, they could have built a set where the mirror was just pointing to a mirrored version of the same set behind it and had Malkovich just walk in, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that would have been a fix. But again, it's
Enter
like
the Void
it's
did
so minor that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other movies have done that well.
Yeah.
Less money. That was much later, I think.
Mhm.
Enter the Void. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is nitpicking.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
mentioning it because I would mention it in any other movie, I guess. I love the line. Like, there's so many great comedic moments. Like, I don't understand how I could go on living my life the way I lived it before. And Maxine just gestures towards the window, the open window, like, fucking kill yourself. Like, so good. Her character is just so awful. But, I mean, all the characters are kind of fucking awful in this movie. The main character's just
it's
a piece
kind
of
the
shit.
point.
Everybody's an
Yeah, he
asshole.
is. He's very unlikable.
They're
So
monsters.
that's the whole point.
The line where they're at the house of Lester, and he's saying, "Okay, enter the 5th door on my left," and then she gets confused and goes through the wrong room. There's so many other films, so many other television shows. Like, it's a common trope of like, "Oh, I'm looking for the bathroom, but I accidentally enter another room," sort of thing. Like, that's a very common thing. But the way that it's set up, in terms of just that simple line, "Enter the 5th door on my left," he's already such a quirky, weird character that it's like, you just imagine that's something that he would say, and you wouldn't correct him because it's just like, okay, well, this guy, whatever, he's fucking weird. But that alone, those directions, it's like, what does that mean at the same time? And so you can totally understand why someone would get so confused. It's not just like, oh yeah, I show up and there's too many doors, sort of thing, like it happens in so many other stories.
Yeah.
There's like a logical reason in the writing for why that would happen. There's just so much in terms of like, I already explained Maxine's motivation and how that plays into her, and how you can tell basically from the moment she's entered into the story. But I love, as soon as Maxine meets Lottie, you see this grin on her face, and immediately you can tell like she's thinking like, I can use this, and everything just adds so much into these characters' motivations, and especially when she's like, "Let her go, Craig. I mean him." And she sees that as a way. She's like, okay, I'm going to not misgender you, and I'm going to see you for your true self, and I will be able to manipulate you more because of that, and I'll also be able to manipulate Craig more because of that. Every bit of conversation, like when they smoke weed and she starts saying, like, she literally starts talking about the virtue of people going after what they want so they don't regret their lives. And that not only plays into her as a character, but that is a very clear way where she's seeing how she can manipulate someone else. And she's literally just suggesting, making enhanced suggestibility for Lottie's character, basically telling her what to do, but pretending as though she's just being philosophical. It's very slimy. I love when Malkovich finds out that all of this is going on, and he says, "I will see you in court." And from that moment, all I'm thinking is like, if that happened, that would be so funny. Just imagining what a courtroom would be like, of like, they got in my head and they were selling tickets to my brain. Just how goofy that would be. It's just so well done from like a parody level. Like, it seems really genuine, like it could be a real thing. And on the Criterion Blu-ray and the special features, they basically included that full sequence without cutting back to the characters. Like, you could just watch it as if it were a video sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
And I don't know, maybe this was just easier to pick up on watching this way. Perhaps it cut to another character in the film and that's why I didn't notice it. But when they talk about his Malkovich's breakout puppeteering performance at the Grammys, I think, whichever, or the Emmys, whichever one it was, they talk about his performance, and they say that his act was he was manipulating a marionette that was also manipulating a smaller marionette. So basically, you see the shot of Malkovich holding a puppet, and then the puppet pulls another puppet out of a box. And I wish that they had made that more clear in the film, because I think they cut away from that moment. Because watching that in the featurette, all I'm thinking is like, that's exactly what is happening in the story too. Because John Cusack's character is puppeteering Malkovich, who is puppeteering a puppet. So there already is that extra layer. And so if you think about it, it's like a third layer rather than just a second layer. And it's so crazy. It's like the fucking the warehouse in Synecdoche, New York, where they build New York inside of New York.
Yeah.
There's just so many layers, and it just loops on forever. I mean, this is like a no-brainer, but I love how meta the film is, because it's not just a movie that's about writing; it's a movie about writing the movie that you're watching, and it's
very
so
funny. Yes.
When it starts getting into the point where he's writing the actual film you're watching.
Yeah,
and
he's writing scenes we're watching play out.
Recording the
It's very funny.
where he's saying what he's saying repeated. It's so energetic, and it's so much fun just to think about. Although there are kind of more subtle instances of that same thing happening. Because near the beginning of the film, one of the lines when he's starting to write, even though he's not talking about the film that he's currently write or the version of the script that is in the film, one of the lines is, "Okay, so I need to establish the themes." And that's as the themes are being established in the film. So it's kind of also meta in that sense.
Yeah.
I love the pitch of Donald Kaufman's script. I love just how like cliched and just like, it's the type of thing that could sell, realistically, especially in the early 2000s, where he's just like, it's like a serial killer, and it turns out that it's actually him the whole time, and it's a split personality. And what's really funny about this is like they directly mention the contradiction that would arise from if there are all these characters and there's like a chase scene, then where both of the vehicles coming from. So how can he be in two places at once? And he's just like, yeah, well, I don't know, it's subversive, like just kind of explaining it away. And then the very next year, another film came out where, I guess I won't say the title because it's a spoiler for the movie, but a horror film by a French director, and that enough should give it away, that did that exact same thing. And I like the movie, but like, holy crap, that gigantic plot hole just like kind of ruins the the movie. So much that Roger Ebert even mentioned it in his review. He said there's a plot hole so big you could drive a truck through it. So Charlie Kaufman strikes me as a very lovesick person, because I realized while watching this film that every single one of his movies essentially has
a character longing for like an important sort of like intimacy with another character. So it makes me kind of sad. Like
a bit tortured.
I feel bad for the guy because it's like it's from what I can tell, it's like clearly a part of him, right? It's like he's
his work
really
just one of
working
the-
in
Yeah.
action.
It's hard to know like exactly where the characters end and he starts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But, like
But there's
There's-
just so
yeah,
much of
his
movies are
him
very
in
personal.
these movies. Like you can
Mhm.
tell
Mhm.
it's
he
so
is literally
personal.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed adaptation. There's like little bits of details here and there that I picked up on this time, like him saying like before he goes into the meeting pretending to be his brother, he's like, "Don't laugh how you laugh," and then immediate cut to him laughing, which I found kind of funny. But it wasn't like
Yeah, I
so
love that.
overt. It wasn't so obvious that it was like the punchline, but it was just a nice little detail.
Yeah, they always reel it back. They don't go over the top with the ideas. It's very
Mhm.
subtle.
Spike Jonze makes both of these really great too. I love that
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman is able to work with great directors. Now he's directing his own things, which is just even better. But it was really crucial for his ideas to work to actually collaborate with talented people that could bring his vision to life. So both Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry. Like if you had directors that were not as competent, these ideas would never work that well. Like they wouldn't be the same films at all. So much of it is the directing too, even though I'm like obviously, gushing over Charlie Kaufman, you got to give credit to Spike Jonze for both of these films.
Yeah. Lee Dumb asks, if you guys had a friend who liked the Madagascar series an unhealthy amount, how would you go about getting help for them?
Well, we do, right? Didn't you give Madagascar 2 a 5 on a Letterboxd,
What are you
Alex?
talking about?
Hold on, I'm gonna read this review. You guys keep talking. I'll be right with you.
You familiar with the Madagascar series, Adam?
Yeah, I watched the
I
first
like to
one.
move it.
Fuck. It's not good.
Oh, maybe I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to
I
change
barely remember them.
my recommended movie. I was genuinely battling with recommending Madagascar 3.
Oh no.
But I didn't want to torture you guys.
Well,
Too much.
whatever. It's your
Hey,
it's
if you
your
wanted to
call.
Madagascar 3. Madagascar 2, Escape from Mort, is an important seminal film. First off, the emotion. Wow, the themes of racism hit hard. First off, the love triangle between Gloria, Moto, and Melman is striking and honest. All right, I've had it. That's it. This goes on for like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, I really am not a fan of the character design in those films.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the
They all
character
look
design.
like blocks,
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's very
You
unsettling.
guys are uncultured.
I'm not a fan of the humor. I'm not a fan of
Do you
any
like
of it,
the
really.
penguins?
I don't really like it.
You don't like the penguins? Come on, you have to admit the penguins.
No.
They got their old spinoff. How about King Julian, the lemur?
He's my least favorite. And the penguins
yeah?
movie wasn't very good, but okay. Well, you guys haven't really answered the question, but okay.
I don't know what I would
Oh,
do.
well. It's an ugly looking movie. Like anything that could be wrong with a movie is in Suicide Squad, and that's why it's always brought up. Because it's like whenever you mention a flaw with something else, you go, "Oh yeah, that's in Suicide Squad too."
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a shining example.
Yeah, it's a shining example of how you can do everything wrong.
With a very passionate fan base.
Oh yeah.
People love that film.
Oh,
Like, I was
yeah.
walking down the street the other day and I looked in someone's window and they were fucking watching it.
You said it like you were
Oh
horrified.
man. Somebody in my audience notified me that you've written a couple articles for Playboy. How did that happen?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was
Oh.
weird. That was a while ago, too.
Mhm.
I think they literally just emailed me and were like, would you want to do that? And I was like, okay. Like, I think both times they even like approached me with the topic. And I was like, yeah, that sounds interesting. And I thought that was cool because it's like a real publication, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and that was it. They basically just emailed me with like the idea, and I was pretty like new to YouTube, so I thought it was like really flattering that they would want me to write something for them.
Oh yeah.
So I did it. But yeah, I wish it was more exciting.
How big was your audience at the time?
I think I was at like between 100,000 and 200,000
Okay.
subscribers. which I feel like is like you have an audience, but you feel like insecure in your place as a YouTuber, kind of.
Yeah, I noticed. I didn't do like a deep dive or anything. I noticed Adam Conover also wrote an article for Playboy, and I guess it got me to be thinking about how like a lot of old media publications are kind of having to compete on the internet now. It's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, for sure. It's
combining
weird.
old media and new media almost seems like a viable strategy for them at some points.
Yeah, definitely.
Mr. I believe it's Sir David Ayer. He's knighted. He's not. David Ayer, famous special boy director. He sent out a tweet saying "my turn," and there's like this big, like 3 pages that he typed up in Microsoft Word, where he's basically just saying that he wants to do a like a Snyder cut of the first Suicide Squad, I think. Is this what it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't read this whole thing. People were telling me this on my Twitch
I
chat.
didn't realize he did like a whole Word doc. Well, this has been rumbling for a while, hasn't it?
I put my life into Suicide Squad. I made something amazing. My cut is intricate and intricate and emotional journey. Well, holy shit, you didn't even proofread this.
That's so bad.
My cut is intricate and emotional journey with some, quote, bad people who are shit on and discarded. And then in parentheses, a theme that resonates in my soul. The studio cut is not my movie. Read that again. You should have read it again. You would have noticed that sentence didn't work. And oh my god, the next paragraph starts with the word and. And my cut is not the 10-week director's cut. Dash. It's a fully mature edit by Lee Smith standing on the incredibly work by John Gilroy. How did you fucking post this? Oh my god. On the incredibly work. It's all Stephen Price's brilliant score with not a single radio song in the whole thing. It has traditional character arcs, amazing performances, a solid third act resolution. A handful of people have seen it. If someone says they have seen it, they haven't. Okay, what if they're part of the handful of people? So yeah, should be clear by now. I daren't have any quit in me. What? How did you post
really
this,
drunk when you
David?
read this?
It's still up. It isn't even archived. I daren't have any. This is real.
Is this real?
This is his verified
It's
account.
like
I'll send
actually
you
on his
this.
Twitter.
Hold on, I gotta.
Okay.
Yeah, send the link. I was trying to find it on his Twitter. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I was trying to read
Yeah,
it
I
all.
started reading from the second page there.
Mhm.
That's real, right? That's real.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. My turn. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, should be clear by now. I daren't have any quit in me. Never have. And why should I? Everyday breathing is a gift. Though my story was going to end in a grave or a cell long ago. How can you have? How can you posted this? You've never.
Oh
My god. So I'm starting. I was thinking it was like. I mean, I guess Warner Brothers is partially to blame, but now I'm like, I can't. David Ayer seems like a fucking idiot. Holy shit, this is amazing.
Well, yeah, it's not the same thing as the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
I think that came up together a bit better.
So these I'm living are bonus rounds. I'm so honored and blessed to have the career I do. Quit after my kids watched me come home every day after the studio takeover of the edit with my heart torn out. Who would I be to them if I quit? I've never told my side of the story and never will. Oh, so maybe he doesn't want to do a Snyder cut. Let's see. Okay, he's just basically me tooing Warner Brothers right now, I guess. Okay, yeah, it's literally okay. The last 2 sentences. I appreciate your patience. I will no longer speak publicly on this matter. So now, I guess the story is other people want to see an Ayer cut based off of this post. That's the story. But yeah, this was sent to me, and holy shit, I had never read it, and I thought that it would be at least coherent. But I guess after watching Suicide Squad, I shouldn't have expected that.
What are your favorite TV shows? Oh, this is from The Last Secret, by the way. The Last Secret asks, what are your favorite TV shows? I'm going to count ones that are on right now and then ones in general. Like, what's
So
your
which
favorite
first?
one?
Or just
Whichever
of
one you
all,
want.
or just of all
Who
time?
gives a shit? Yeah, of all time, and then we can narrow it down to what's on now.
We should probably just get Breaking Bad out of the way. Is that on all of our lists, right?
Yeah, should we say Breaking Bad's disqualified? Because I think all three of us would probably
No,
say Breaking Bad's
I
the
wouldn't.
best.
No.
Oh, really?
No, I
Okay, well,
I
Breaking
disagree.
Bad's my
Wow.
favorite.
Really?
There you go.
You wouldn't put it on?
No. I mean, I fucking loved the shit out of the show, and I own it, and I'm gonna watch through it again at some point. But there's like pretty much all of season 2 just sucked for me, in my opinion.
Really?
Really?
Season 3 was like, I was only watching season 3 because I was still entertained and wanted to see where it was going, but was expecting a total train wreck. And although half of season 3 was kind of a train wreck for me, it wound up getting better. And then season 4 was the best season in my opinion, and season 5 was awesome. Season 1 was awesome, but yeah, season 2 dumpster fire. Season 3 half dumpster
Interesting.
fire,
A little harsh.
recovering
I
out
think
of a
the end-
dumpster fire.
I think the end of season 2 is a little weak with the. That I'm not going to spoil it. This is a plane related.
Yeah,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
like that
That
was
bothered
fucking
me.
dumb. There was a lot of dumb shit that happened in season 2 that was just like, come on.
And the fact they tried to
Fuck
build
off.
up to it was even worse.
Oh yeah.
made you think
Oh,
something big was gonna
the
happen.
fucking clips
That
at the
killed
beginning
me.
of every episode. Oh, that was
Yeah.
so poorly
And you're
done.
like, oh man, what's going to happen? And then
Oh,
it's just like
man.
some dumb shit.
It's just dishonesty.
That's
yeah.
the only problem I have with the show.
Yeah.
The rest of it's excellent. All these
Yeah.
shows are going to have problems. Listen, making 50 hours of entertaining TV is
Yeah.
very hard. So, like, for me to find, I don't think any show's perfect, but,
What about Better Call Saul? On the same line.
I hate it.
it's,
You hate it?
wow.
It's so unnecessary and unimportant, and does not really capture anything I loved about the original. I watched through the first like 3 or 4 episodes of Better Call Saul, and they just
I really like Better Call Saul. I
I
think
do
it's great.
too. I completely
I don't-
disagree.
I think it's very
I
well
think
written.
I can't enjoy it. I tried.
I think it's a totally different. It's trying to be a totally different show than Breaking Bad.
I'm sure at
which
this
is
point
something I
it's
love about it. It's
completely
so
different,
much
but-
slower, and not that Breaking Bad isn't character based, but there ain't nearly as enough. There's not as much violence or
That was one of
gunplay or
my
crazy shit.
criticisms, is
It's-
that it was really slow. I
Yeah,
felt like
well-
barely anything had happened in the here. I watched through
But
the
I
first.
find that so interesting that a show
Yeah,
can
so
just
do I.
take its time like
I-
this. Like it's fucking. We're like 4 seasons in, and barely anything has happened, which I love.
Here's.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've only seen the first 4 episodes or something, but the impression that I got from what I saw was that it would have worked much better if the episode lengths were like halved. Like what? It's like a 40-something minute show, like an hour long.
I think so,
thing.
yeah.
And I know Breaking Bad was of that time frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it kind of just felt obligated to be in the same time frame, and then just the
I
what
totally
happens over
disagree.
the course of a single episode is just should have been in a 20-minute show for me personally.
But that's what's great about it is that it takes I'm telling you, not much happens in the show. Like
The
barely.
characters
What
are so
happens in
interesting.
3 seasons of Better Call Saul happens in like 5 episodes of Breaking Bad.
it's
But
not.
you watch these characters just slowly shift and turn on each other and gain
It's
alliances.
so
here.
satisfying.
I
It
get-
is.
I get that, but it's like it requires you to really give a shit about what's going on, and for me, it's like I really don't. I really
Yeah,
don't. There's
that's
nothing
fair.
that earns it for me. And if I'm gonna have a show or a film, there's plenty of movies I love and plenty of shows I love that could be considered slow. What I want out of that, if you're gonna have something slow, is I need some amazing cinematography or something really substantive to just keep me going and keep me chewing and interested, and not just waiting for something to happen. I don't watch Game of Thrones either. I'm not interested in this whole hold out for just keep watching
No,
10
I
more
love the
episodes. I
production
swear
of,
something will
Better Call
happen,
Saul.
Adam. I'm
Yeah, I
not
love
really
it too.
interested in that shit.
I think the
I think it's
show's
really
gorgeous.
stylish. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
not my kind of thing.
I mean, a lot of people agree with you, but I think
Yeah,
it's,
I understand it,
it's-
but personally, I don't think
it's
feel that way at all.
so. It shows. I love that shows are doing this now, where it's not the episode of the week, and we got to get like Aaron Sorkin, because I listened to him talk, and he talked about television, how you have to get all this shit out of the way in the first 5 minutes to get people invested.
Yeah.
And Better Call Saul is so slow, and Game of Thrones is so slow. I mean, not in the traditional sense, but Game of
Yeah.
Thrones really
They're
doesn't pick
unbearably
up.
slow for me.
It doesn't pick up till the end of season 3 is when Game of Thrones gets
Oh,
really good.
see, that just I can't.
I know that's
I could
that's
never
nuts
do
to-
that. I'm not like
it's really good prior to season 3. Like it's always good, but season
just-
3 is when you realize it's all been building up to season 3, and then from there it's a release.
I already know what happens anyway, and it's like I don't know. I watched the first few episodes of Game of Thrones, and I was like, wow, I do not give a shit about anything that's happening right now. And I don't want to feel an obligation to continue watching like 50 hours of shit so that I can start to care about something because apparently it's just so great that I care about it. Like I don't want that kind of fucking investment, you know?
Wow.
Especially if it continues and
I
it
can
starts getting
understand that.
shit anyway.
I can understand it too, but I don't know. The thing is,
It
Adam,
didn't
with
do
both of
anything
these
to
shows,
earn my
with
interest.
Both Better Call Saul and Game of Thrones, I started watching them and then stopped like around episode 4 and then left it for a while and then ended up coming back and watching the whole thing again. So I don't know. Maybe it's just you gotta wait for the whole thing to come out and then you feel more urge to just kind of watch the whole thing at once. Maybe I don't know, but that's what happened with me with both of these shows. It's all right. You're allowed to be wrong
I have more.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
What was everyone's thoughts on the right-wing YouTubers and their obsessions with movies being woke? The entire internet was aflame over Lightyear, kind of like what we talked about last episode, and the so-called woke kiss. But I watched the clip and the kiss lasted for maybe half a second. Do you think people who complain about wokeness are all clowns, or is there any validity in that line of thinking?
Wokeness isn't inherently bad, but it can be annoying, and I especially feel it can be annoying in movies that are not really selling themselves as that,
Okay.
or I don't know. Like a woke
What is
movie
it?
for me is like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
it's kind of woke.
When-
What does
but I
woke
like that
mean?
about that film.
I'm kind of
It's selling
confused
itself.
by
Woke
like,
means anything that conservatives disagree with. But the issue, whenever,
Woke is like, I don't know. I
whenever
don't know how to describe woke. Let me hear how you describe it.
whenever wokeness is an issue in a movie, it's not because of wokeness. It's because they're trying to inject things into the movie that take away from the experience of the narrative and the characters, right? So regardless of which way a writer is leaning, it can be annoying when their political beliefs are injected into a film in a way that takes away from the film. If it's something like a black person being in a movie, I don't think that really takes away from a film. If it's something like a trans character existing in a movie, I don't think that that takes away from a film. So yeah, there are arguments you can make where it's like, oh yeah, the woke elements of a film took away from it because it took away from the actual narrative. But I think that what a lot of very hysterical people on Twitter complain about doesn't necessarily fit that mold, especially as we've seen with the Buzz Lightyear kiss, and now apparently just a trans character existing in a new Disney show is, something to flip out over. So yeah, it's kind of weird. I thought, yeah.
I think the thing is, I think sometimes, I guess my only problem with it in this sense is that sometimes it feels quite performative, and sometimes I feel they inject these things as like a side thing, as like, yes, hey, look, we love gay people, but then what they'll do is they'll make it so fleeting, so because they're afraid to actually put like a character in that position in a more prominent role. So sometimes it more feels like a bit of an annoying wink, rather than natural acknowledgement that this is people existing. And I think one of the concerns in the past, and probably has happened, is that basically they put these people in these scenes for such a short amount of time so they don't piss governments in conservative countries off. And,
that's annoying. And I talk about it when it happens.
Yeah.
That's a valid thing to criticize Disney over, and it's a valid thing to criticize the Russian and Chinese governments over. But it's a lot of the arguments now at this point, it seems to have evolved seem to have evolved into just being upset that a black or trans person is in the movie. Like, that's unfortunately what it has devolved into. Is the conversation seems to be no longer about like, hey, this is kind of performative. Like, that's a valid criticism, but people are actually being like, we need to censor this part in the movie so that children aren't corrupted by the woke agenda, by Disney being like literally the option existing. We can't let a single child know that a woman and another woman can ever kiss, because otherwise every kid will be gay or something. Like, that's what the conversation is now. That's fucked up.
That was not woke. I'm sorry. That was like really, that was so minor, in my opinion. It's like not even worth mentioning. It's sad that people even talked about it.
It has gone so much further than the conversation was like a few years ago.
And it isn't, and that annoys me as well, because it's like these are real experiences that will happen in our lives, and why is it not fair to represent those on the screen?
Exactly.
You will see people in gay relationships.
Let's stop the performative shit. Stop including Christian characters in your movies. I don't want to see your shit. You know, you're trying to indoctrinate the kids into thinking that they can be Christians. Like, come on, it's the same argument. Stop being such a snowflake. Stop being so sensitive over people. It's fucking art.
Or like you said, when there's a straight relationship in a movie or a straight sex scene in a movie, it's like, oh, what are you, grooming kids to be gay? It's like, obviously not. It's just a sex scene or a straight scene. It's just expressive of straight people, just like how gay people can express themselves.
For a character to exist in a film that is an identity, and their identity is shown in the film, and that's all there is to it, whether it be black, trans, gay, whatever, it's the same. It's literally as political as if someone just had a Christian character in their film. It's as political as that, but these people don't complain about that shit. You know, as political as a straight person in the film, like, fuck off.
Yeah, so cherry-picked. It's so cherry-picked. So annoying.
People feel threatened, too, that their lives are going to be affected by, like... Yeah, they're going to be affected by, like, a trans person or a gay person making a film. But, like, really, like I'm sorry, it's not that common. Like the Wachowskis, like a trans sister, or they used to be brothers and they became sisters, like directing a film. That is not common. This is not a common thing. And people feel threatened by it. But it isn't, they shouldn't be threatened by it because it's not a common thing. They're maybe their kid will be trans or gay, but maybe not. Like, they shouldn't be threatened by that. It's just people who are different from you expressing themselves and getting a spotlight. I don't know why they're so scared of it.
Yeah, like a small portion of a fraction of a moment in a film, which is the film itself, is a fraction of the overall filmography that exists on the planet. Right, just like a billionth of a percentage, you know, of something like that existing is enough to flip out over, apparently. So, like, Jesus Christ, grow the fuck up, stop being a baby, and just be comfortable, or learn to be comfortable that other people exist in the world. You don't have to like them, you don't have to agree with them, you don't have to be trans just because you saw a trans character in a movie. You don't have to, you don't have to get the surgery. Don't worry, it's not going to be mandated. You know, so
there are many movies without like trans characters and gay characters that they can watch.
The overwhelming majority of films do not have trans and gay.
I was going to say the first 100 years of cinema, basically, with a few notable exceptions.
Even the overwhelming majority of films today don't have trans.
Even today,
like,
because again, most people are not trans or gay. They're just, or like a lot of them, you know, at least in my culture, it's not it's not common. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a very silly thing to be scared of.
But yeah, it just kind of goes back to like it's what we were saying earlier with like when we're talking about men. Like, there's just certain topics, man. Like the wokeness one, gender stuff, and it just makes talking about it just such a nightmare. Like, yeah, the scene in Endgame where they like pretend that there's like the women Avengers, you know, and they're like as if we've been building this up the whole time, and they're characters that are just as developed as everyone else, and it just feels like really corporate and lame. But then when you like talk about that, it just becomes like another conversation, like you're saying about like, it's like a black person in this now. This is forced wokeness everywhere, and
there are good faith conversations to be had about this subject, but unfortunately, having those conversations, there are a lot of bad faith people that jump into those conversations and sort of derail it into their own just political agenda, which they claim to be against political agendas, you know, but they have their own, right? So like the newest one is like, there's a leaked clip from a Disney Plus show that's a new Big Hero 6, basically. And there's a very, like, the clip is like 17 seconds long or something. Big Hero 6 is in a store. They're supposed to grab like tampons for another character or something, and they're in the aisle. And then a bunch of women essentially come up and help the character, like, oh, here's the brand I like. Here's the brand I like. One of those characters is a trans male, so female to male trans character. You can tell that because their shirt has the trans flag on it, and they just say, I like the ones with wings. And the tweet that everyone's sharing says, Disney is trying to indoctrinate the children, but you know what? I'm going to get the actual... I wonder if I can search for it.
It's
but anyway,
the same
the
thing, yeah.
The crazy thing about it is they say Disney is trying to teach children that men can have periods. But what doesn't make sense to me, and people are retweeting this unironically and joining in on this NPC bandwagon of like, oh, I'm outraged at this right now. But that was a female to male trans character when any other day of the week you would be saying that's a woman because they have woman parts. So how are they now complaining that how is the narrative now Disney is trying to teach kids that men can have periods when I thought that you thought that that was a woman? It's so inconsistent, and it just seems like you want something to be outraged about. It's insanely performative, insanely annoying. It's just virtue signaling, which is something they claim to be against. So, grow the fuck up. People do it on both sides. Yeah, there's annoying people on the left and annoying people on the right. And if you call out those annoying people on one side, maybe think about your side doing it too. Maybe think, hey, the people doing it on both sides are really fucking annoying and we should discourage that. Some people just don't want to look at their own side in that way. It's such tribalistic, nonsense bullshit, and it's caveman brain. I'm done.
What about Lightyear?
The gayest movie. So bad that you have to stop kids from seeing it because it's too gay for them. It's political.
The drama, I saw the clip like being shared on Twitter of that controversial scene. It's like, really? This is what has got people
What's so bizarre about it is just like, this isn't like even a new thing. Disney's been doing this shit for a while. Like just having like, oh, let's have representation by having like two characters in the background kiss for like half a second. Like, This isn't the first one. Why is this one? Everything's so fucking weirdly charged right now against queer people in the States right now.
Yeah. So I saw Lightyear.
Yeah.
It was weird. So
you saw
the
it,
controversies.
did you?
Yeah, I did. So the controversies, like what there's like two characters that kiss in it that are lesbians. I saw the movie.
You can't show children that any gay people exist ever.
That scene's not in the movie. They must have cut it out.
Wow. Your theater?
Wait, really?
No, I did not see that scene.
Theater must have.
For real.
Because I saw the clip on Twitter. Someone must have like
maybe blinked.
filmed it in the theater.
I don't know what happened. When I saw the movie, I swear I did not see them. There's lesbians in it. They like look at each other.
Oh.
And then
Did
it
they
cuts. No.
Maybe
no
your
kissing.
theater cut it out.
That would be weird. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck happened.
So, yeah, the clip I saw was like an extremely brief kiss. Like they're just saying, okay, bye. Talk.
There's been theaters in the States that have been doing that, like unironically.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
But it's
like, why now?
Whoa.
It's so strange.
Yeah,
so
like
bizarre.
Finding Dory had I think like a gay kiss in the background. Why wasn't that as controversial?
No, it wasn't a gay kiss. That was a really dumb one, Finding Dory.
Like two women pushing a stroller or something.
Or were they like holding hands or something?
It's like two lesbians, yeah, but they don't even necessarily have to be like lesbians. Just like two women and a baby stroller. Like it's like the most vague thing. Like that's not really inclusion. That's like you just threw that in there for fucking marketing. Here it's like there were lesbians in the movie, like definitely they're a lesbian couple, but you don't see them kiss.
Well, what if one of them is a male to female trans lesbian? Then for conservatives, they can say that was a straight kiss.
so everybody wins.
Now that would blow their minds.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. The new James Bond should be a trans woman, because then people who don't want a woman to be James Bond will say it's a man, and everybody wins.
That's true.
Right?
I never thought about it like that.
5-head. Big brain time.
Yeah, I bet that would do great.
So, that's blowing my mind. So what? You think they edited it out for your showing?
I've seen there's been images circulating.
I have no idea.
Of like of printouts from theaters in America, depending on where you are. I don't know, depending on who owns the theater or who's managing whichever location. There's been printouts of people being like, "Oh, sorry, we're going to try our best to fast forward through this scene," or like something like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So who knows the legitimacy to those things?
You know, I live in New York. Which is like a pretty like liberal state.
Yeah, that's
like,
what some.
If
yeah.
I lived in like Tennessee or something, I guess. But it's not. Yeah, it's a pretty liberal place. Like, there's a lot of like obviously gay people.
Was it a big theater chain that you went to, or was it like?
It's AMC.
Okay,
I saw it
you're
in
probably
AMC.
fine then.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened, honestly, because I was waiting for it
What
because
if
I
you
heard
just
about
blinked?
that controversy.
What if it was just that short?
I don't think I no, I don't think I missed it.
No, because it is from the clip I saw. It's just like so like what. I actually can't believe that this is what has got people riled up.
Over these past few months, I've been made to feel like I'm crazy or something. Like between the It's Morbin Time thing,
guess
which
you
is
gotta
not in the
watch it
movie,
again.
and now this kiss that like people are saying it's in the movie. I saw the movie, it's not in there. I'm like, do people even watch these fucking movies anymore? Like they just make shit up about it. I don't even know.
There's some
so
controversy for some reason.
Yeah, I still don't know if there's a kiss in this movie or not.
That's funny.
So
Yeah,
odd.
so insignificant.
Oh, yeah, now I'm like questioning if I even saw like it.
Yeah.
Well, what? Should
It's
I
sad.
look-
Like that's
But
all
I
the
don't-
conversation becomes about. Like no one even talks about the movie. They're just talking about like this 1 second in it.
Well, yeah, because I didn't want to go see it like at a protest because it's just like such a dumb, annoying idea to me to
Oh,
like, make
yeah.
the Buzz Lightyear movie.
I just
It
won't
is
see it
kinda
because
dumb.
it doesn't look interesting. I don't even have to protest.
Right.
Well, yeah, exactly. But now I'm kind of curious.
It had a huge. It didn't do well. The Lightyear movie didn't do well. It had like a huge drop off the
Okay.
second weekend. It was like a 79% drop off, which is really bad. Like Top Gun has been doing well like consistently. Like that's why it's made over a billion.
Okay, there's a short kiss. I watched the kiss. There's a short kiss.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
I was
There
trying to
is.
find. I couldn't
Do you want
find
me to
it anywhere.
send it to you?
They cut it out. Yeah, put it in
Yeah.
the Discord.
Okay.
They cut it out of the movie. I want to see if it's the scene that I think it is.
It's very short. I don't know. I miss stuff all the
I
time
wanna see
in
if
a
it's-
movie. I'm
yeah. Wait.
It's a very short kiss. I watch movies without blinking and miss things too. It's something that short. I could just imagine I missed.
Yeah, this is what I saw on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's there's just nothing.
Yeah, maybe I missed it.
It's so weird because it's like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I understand that Disney is not doing this because they actually care about anyone's rights or representation. They're doing it because it's a financial decision for them. That much is very clear. However, if every single instance of two people of the same gender kissing is like trying to groom or brainwash children, then it's like, what, you should you not show straight people kissing? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? You
It's
can't.
like a staple of like Disney animated movies.
At what point can you just have like two characters that are gay that exist in any movie without, you know, certain people thinking like that's political? It's like, well, yes and no. You know, it's what?
Yeah.
What's the point of getting upset about it? Like, who cares? It's so silly.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. Like
Yeah.
this big popular studio. Yeah, they're just doing it for money, obviously, because it's the popular thing to do. But that should show you like how far we've come. Like as a culture, that this big movie that makes billions of dollars, like no one gives a shit about gay kissing or whatever. Like
If you let children know that gay is option, then they'll all be gay. Like, okay.
It makes no sense.
if like literally like 1% of their day they saw, not even, if like a fraction of a percent of their day they saw two of the same gender kissing, that's gonna ruin their entire life. Like, what? Okay,
Calm down, Grandma.
That was so quick in the movie. I might have missed it.
Actually insane.
It's insignificant. It's insignificant.
Yeah, it is insignificant, right? And people made such a big fucking deal about it. And yeah, the movie idea was just stupid. Like to make a live action kind of movie that Andy watched before buying the toy. So technically the movie takes place in the 90s because that's like when Andy would have bought the toys, because that's like when the first Toy Story takes place. So it's technically like a movie made in the 90s. It's so weird.
It's live action in the Toy Story universe.
That's what I'm really confused. So it's a movie that Andy watched.
It's a movie that Andy watched.
It's what the toy's based off of or something.
In theaters in 1990, whenever the first Toy Story came out, the 90s.
So it's not like a real event that happened within the Toy Story universe.
No, it's just a movie that Andy's watching.
Oh.
So in the Toy Story universe, gay rights were like 30 years before the real universe.
Right. It's so odd. That's like such an odd idea for a fucking movie.
They were more progressive in the Toy Story universe.
Yes, an awful idea. I saw on Twitter like one of the toys based on Lightyear, but it's not like the Buzz Lightyear toy. It's like a weird, like, cool, realistic Buzz Lightyear toy. It's like, what? This is this weird circular thing where I'm like so confused and I don't even understand like what is happening anymore. It's like eating itself.
We should talk about it at some point. Yeah, there's this movie Lightyear. Maybe I'll recommend it so you guys can see it when it's out on like Disney Plus or whatever. But yeah, like I just feel like another huge part of Buzz Lightyear's character in the Toy Story movies is that he is a toy, and it's like he takes himself very seriously, but he has no self-awareness. So he's actually like this toy that can't really do anything, and that's like funny because he lacks self-awareness. And here he's just like a space ranger. So it's like, okay, that's not.
But it was like that was part of what made Toy Story cool. Was like it's like a little bit of commentary in there with the cowboy stuff being overtaken by the sci-fi stuff. You know, it's like the modern thing of it. And now, but it's like what? So that's so fucking confusing. Like the movie that he watched in the night. It's so dumb. I hate that idea.
It's a real Synecdoche, New York.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a Charlie Kaufman made a Pixar movie.
Yeah, the actors are acting.
So weird. Yeah. And it's Chris Evans, not Tim Allen, because Tim Allen got canceled because he's a Trump supporter.
Also, he sounds really old.
Or something else.
So if you're gonna have,
he's just an old. I shouldn't say just because of that. He's just an old guy. Yeah.
They'll probably have Tim Allen back in another Toy Story. If they make Toy Story 5, they'll have Tim Allen back. He's not fully canceled yet.
Yeah.
He's fine.
I don't mind him.
Now that we have both a furry and a My Little Pony expert on the podcast, do you have any experiences with the brony community you'd like to share?
Oh, I wouldn't even know where to begin.
What's the brony response been?
To the
video? Mostly positive, I think. Obviously, you mostly hear from the ones who are like mad. So a lot of the saucy fan artists were like mad because they didn't watch my video, I think. Because, you know, if you've watched it, I wasn't really coming down hard on that. The only thing I condemned was specifically like saucy art of child characters. So like some of the people who were mad were drawing it of child characters. So, you know, that I guess it was directed at them. But then a lot of other people were just like drawing saucy fan art of other characters. And they were like, oh, she's making this like puritanical video, like making fun of us for drawing like porn of the ponies. And it was just like, I don't know. I think someone even went on like a podcast. They called into someone's like live stream or podcast and were like complaining about all these things that I hadn't said. And finally, like the people in the chat were like, none of that's in the video. And they were like, oh, well, I didn't watch it. I just read like a Twitter thread that was angry about it. And I was like, okay, that explains it.
No, they never.
But I think most of the bronies were like supportive of it. You know, the ones that watched it all the way through, I think were good. Maybe some of them like rage quit in the first half hour because I hadn't like explained yet that I had been in the fandom. So they just like presumed that I hadn't been. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely overlap between the furry and brony community.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of bronies are also furries because why not? I mean, it's just a more specific property. Whereas furry just encompasses...
Yeah, it's a circle inside the Venn diagram.
Yeah. Furry encompasses a concept, and brony encompasses a specific property within that concept. So yeah, there's a bit of overlap. I had some friends trying to convince me to go to a local brony thing, and I was like, why? They're like, no, yeah, we're just going to like party there. I'm like, we can party somewhere else. What really makes me not as excited to do like a brony thing, and no offense to bronies, but there's a lot of lower age range, not only in the participants, but also like it's a show that's for lower age range. Not to say that you can't enjoy it as an adult or whatever, but I'm happy with the furry community. I'm happy with the demographics there. It's like a big family, it's a lot of people I hang out with. I don't want to show up even with other furry friends and then just be like, let's have a room party away from this convention that's happening. It's like, well, you don't really need the convention. We can just do that. We can have a party at someone's house.
You can just get a hotel and have a party.
Like, I'm not going to hang out with children or anything. You're not going to hang out with children. So like, why are we... I don't know. I
feel like a lot of the hotel parties would be like furry parties. And then like, the after parties would just be like the furries would post a banner, like come to this furry party, like after the con. And they would have like free alcohol and like, they'd bring their own like disco lights and stuff. It was like, you could tell it was these people that were very experienced with cons that like predated the brony community. Like, did you ever go to a con with the Klingon party at it?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Yeah, those guys are crazy. They like decorate the whole room like it's a starship.
Yeah, that's the thing. At was that at FC or MFF? But yeah, I was at the Klingon room. It was awesome.
It's such like an ambitious party, and they do it like completely complimentary. They have like a tip jar, but everything's just like they just show up to random cons to like throw an incredible party for everybody. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, come to a furry convention.
I should. I've never been to a furry convention. I've just been to brony conventions.
I will be your spirit guide.
I have been to the Prancing Skill Tear, one of their parties, which I didn't realize until after the fact were like the inventors of the furry fandom. I watched like a documentary on them. But yeah, because I used to just live really close to that house. And someone just brought it up like, hey, there's this crazy furry house party that happens once a month. And I was like, oh, I'll go to it. And it was like, surreal. Like it was a whole house that belonged to furries. So like all the decor was like furry decor. Like they had all these shelves up high that were like plushies of like Fievel and Land Before Time characters and stuff like that. And a lot of Lion King. I know furries really love the Lion King. But yeah, just crazy. It's a crazy community because it does seem like a lot of people that are just like willing to altruistically like throw these parties for everybody else to have a good time. And it's very welcoming. So, yeah, I should go to a furry convention sometime.
Do it.
I need a fursona.
You will be assigned a fursona, don't worry.
Okay, good.
Did you watch King Richard? I don't know what that... Oh, wait. No, that's the stupid new Venus and Serena movie that they decided to name King Richard and make about their dad. Really? Yeah, Will Smith is in it. I'm like, what a weirdly marketed movie. And then they say their full names in the trailer twice so that people watching the trailer are like, oh, this is about Serena Williams. Literally Will Smith says Serena Williams twice. Like, and then they named the movie King Richard and made it about him and not, I mean, like, what is that supposed to be? That looks so stupid.
Yeah, not really interested.
Yeah, who's gonna watch that?
Looks terrible.
Jared's.
No, it was awesome when I went to see Morbius because I could try out all the seats because it was just completely empty. So I
You got morbed?
Oh, I got
It's
morbed.
morbid time.
I got morbed big time.
Yeah, man, I wasn't even into those memes, and now I just can't stop. That was
Yeah,
like
now they're great.
my whole stream yesterday was
morbid
just me
time.
saying Morbin time.
It's morbid time.
Yeah, it just catches on eventually. It's infectious. Jesus. I can hear Jared Leto say it, too. I'm like, I'm imagining it perfectly. It's Morbin time. Yeah. Are you ready, kids?
Aye, Captain.
I can't hear you.
Aye, Captain.
Oh, who stars in a podcast with lots of dank memes? Cast a horse and a Brit and a closet furry. Cast if talking about movies is something you wish. Cast then swallow some jankum and fuck like a fish. Ready? Sardonicast, 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 Sardonicast.
That was
everybody.
the cringiest shit ever.
Speaking of society,
Speaking of insane.
We live in a society.
yeah, the director of the new Jurassic World Dominion movie, Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
you were gonna bring
says-
this up, yeah.
Yeah, I will, because I said society,
Yeah,
and I
I
wanted
saw
a good segue.
Amanda the Jedi. I saw her tweet. I'm like, what?
He's convincing people. Speaking to Empire, he says that the new dinosaur is like the Joker. It was created to be like the Joker.
Okay, so how is it like the Joker?
He says
Is it played by Jared Leto?
he says I wanted something that felt like the Joker. It just wants to watch the world burn.
It's an animal.
What does that mean? Oh my god.
They've already gone down this path before. There's the thing, if you in like the second Jurassic World movie, there's kind of the custom-made like sociopath dinosaur that's like made.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh my
wait,
God.
they've done that in like all of them.
I really need to see Jurassic World 2. I was looking on Letterboxd. I've seen like 90% of the top grossing like box office movies of all time, like worldwide. And like, so I'm missing like 10 of them or so I want to watch. So it's like Frozen 2. And yeah, like Jurassic World Dominion is one of them. That's one of like the ones on the list of the highest grossing. And yeah,
Oh,
I
you
just
missed
can't
that
bring
one.
myself to do it. It looks so bad.
Dominion's the one that hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, the new one coming out. It hasn't come out yet. It'll probably be on that list also.
That's what
yeah.
Dominion is, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fallen Kingdom's
what's
the other one.
It's
Well, what
Fallen
was this- was
Kingdom.
it- what was
Yeah,
it
Fallen
called?
Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dominion's
it's
the
the
new
one,
one. Fallen
yeah.
Kingdom's the second one.
That was the last one, which
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
It's
I
really
saw the
funny.
first Jurassic World. That sucked, and I was completely put off by it.
Fallen Kingdom's like a really funny, like bad movie.
I heard
Like
it was
I'll
bad.
I'll
Yeah,
watch
I heard it was
Dominion
pretty bad.
for that reason. But the reason why I started sounding very high pitched and losing my shit a few seconds ago is because I clicked on the original article from Empire, the interview. The name of the the name of the new dinosaur. It's called the
Got a load on me.
Gigantosaurus, but for short, it's known as the Giga. The Giga.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. The Giga,
It's not
the Giga Joker.
Jokersaurus. No Jokersaurus. That would have been better.
Oh my
It's just because the movie made $1 billion, that Joker movie. So they're just like, yeah, anything we can throw in here to make more money.
Are they going to give it
More
like a big
marketing.
smile, do you think? Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Like he's probably just misinterpreting what the Joker is. Like, oh, he's a person that wants things bad to happen. It's like what? Every single other dinosaur you've thrown in these movies is one that wants to watch the world burn, right? Like,
Yeah.
none of these dinosaurs that exist in these Jurassic Park movies are just existing. They're always like, oh, we want to take down this helicopter. Like, like they all want to watch the world burn. I don't know. That's what it seems like. That's the personality you've given them. But yeah, in Fallen Kingdom, they had a new dinosaur called the Indoraptor. They're like, it's much more smart than a regular raptor. And I shit you not, there's like points in the movie where like it winks at the camera and is like, it's like when the dinosaurs in these new Jurassic Park films are going cronk cronk wah wah, they might as well have subtitles. They're having like actual conversations with each other. It's like they're speaking English. They're like Pokemon or whatever. Like if you just had the subtitles, you'd see
self-aware.
like full intelligent conversations or something. It's crazy.
Are there like fourth wall breaks
Yeah, basically.
with the Velociraptor?
Basically, yeah.
It's like Deadpool. It's
Yeah.
like Deadpool with dinosaurs.
Yeah, they made
That's just what they do
Indoraptor
now.
Deadpool, and they made the Giga the Joker.
They just they combine it with like comic book movies because that's what, like popular. That's what's popular. Yeah.
Oh my god.
People often comment on review channels, particularly the Needle Drop. Things like, thanks, now I can finally like this album / movie / whatever. Usually these comments are made as a joke, but they seem to be based on people who genuinely seek to validate, if not construct, their opinion based on that of professional critics. How do you feel about this notion of people who watch reviews in order to feel like they're allowed to like / dislike something? Is it something critics should be concerned about when producing their reviews?
Ooh, I saw that with the Spider-Man reaction. Like, I saw people put our reviews up, and they're like, "Oh, okay, it's okay
That's right,
to like
yeah.
it." But it was okay to like it before. Like, it's not, you know. I'm speaking from my experience anyway. Yeah, I think you should make up your own mind and not be a fucking Muppet cheat.
Stop watching our videos.
just listen to me and go, "Oh, that's someone else's opinion," and like move on with your life.
I think that sometimes people have a bit of malleability to them in the sense that like someone can experience something about a film and be like, oh, I was kind of indifferent to that, and then they can listen to us trash it and be like, okay, yeah, you're right, that is kind of bad. I think that in that sense, people's perspectives can be changed, or maybe they could hear us praising a film and be like, oh, you know what, that is a really cool thing I didn't know about the film, and that is a neat way to look at it, or, you know, maybe people misinterpret it in some way. I think that there's just a good chunk of people out there that they're not necessarily sheep, but they seek out other people and watch content from people like us because they're not either as strong in their opinions, or they might not necessarily know how to formulate their own opinions in the same way or verbalize them in the same way. And then hearing someone else like us might help with that certainty. It might solidify their feelings a bit, or it might change it a bit.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a lot of people out there that would be like, this is the worst movie ever, and then I go, well, I liked it, and they go like, I liked it actually. I don't think that there's a lot of people like that, but I think that there is something in between where, you know, there is some malleability there, you know.
Yeah, critical faculty. It's difficult. I don't know. I focus more on like just the way I consume, as I like trying to get a broad like selection of opinions, and you can kind of pick and choose. Oh yeah, that's a good point there. Maybe that's like not the strongest point, but yeah, I don't really understand if this is like a problem or whatever. It does seem to be way more of like a joke that people tend to put in the comment sections.
It's a joke. But, you know, when people are ironic, it's hard to tell if they're being serious or not.
That's the thing.
Yeah, like I don't just want people to be validated by like some guy online. That doesn't make you right.
I think the people that look at things like this also kind of have like I don't know if it's called a selection bias or confirmation bias, but like, you know, so if I make a video and, you know, I don't align myself in my opinions most of the time with, you know, a lot of other people, I'm not going to have the same opinions as like Angry Joe on most films, right? Mm-hmm. And so someone who might align their opinions more with Angry Joe's, they might look at my video being posted of something where I'm being critical of something that Angry Joe likes. They might look at my comment section being like, wow, what a bunch of mindless people just following whatever Adam says. Make up your own mind, people. But what they don't understand is that there's a lot of people who already gravitate towards having the same opinions as me or as you or as Angry Joe, and we choose who we want to follow, right? You're going to follow the people that you agree with more, that you're going to follow the people that you understand more. But for some reason, I guess a lot of people just lack the ability to understand that other people's brains function differently. So when someone has an opinion that's not their own, they go, oh, well, you must only think this because you're listening to what that person says. When they can't possibly imagine this this scenario in which people could be like coming to these conclusions because they believe it's the correct conclusion to come to. You know, we see the same thing with all like the entire COVID discourse. It's like, oh, you're just listening to what the media tells you. You're just listening to what Fauci tells you. And you see it on both sides of like, oh, you just can't understand that someone would come to that conclusion by themselves, so you have to tell yourself, oh, someone else told you, and that's you just don't you don't think about anything, and you're just a sheep, blah blah blah. It's just that same thing. People just lack of empathy or understanding of other people's perspectives, or that a brain outside your own might exist on this planet. Anyway,
we got to shout out the just with the balancing the tone thing when Robin Williams like in the street like pours gasoline over himself and is about to set himself on fire, and people are just kind of like watching, not really caring that much. They're just kind of like watching. No one's like saying anything, and then they have the goal to bring out the little girl and have her blow out the match to have this.
They have a little girl run at him with gasoline. The crowd would go, "No, get away from him!" They would pull her away.
I cringed so hard. I cringed so
Why would
fucking
they let
hard
the little
at that
girl?
moment. No!
Go up to this guy covered in gasoline in a match.
It's so cute how he didn't
Why would they
kill
let
himself.
her do that? That's all I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, if I was there, I'd be like, get the fuck away from it.
She blows it out and acts as if it's like sentimental, like kind of fucking like, oh,
yeah, that's what's weird though. Like, 20 minutes
That's
before
it,
they're
yeah.
like joking about like Nazis and
Yeah, it's so tonally
running
off,
to
right?
walls,
Because
yeah.
it's just it's so
I was pissed off how
disturbing.
that
It's like
happened.
such a disturbing.
Because at a certain point in the movie, when your movie's that bad, I'm like, yeah, actually, just have your characters all. We can end the movie sooner,
Yeah.
you know.
So
Just do something interesting,
Yeah.
and then
Preferable.
And then the you know how fucking cheap is it not to just have some random character save the day, but it's like, oh, it's a cute little girl. Oh, like fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of that shit. Show me something interesting. It's infuriating. It's legitimately infuriating.
That was very corny.
That part. I almost had a stroke.
Yeah, I'm
when I
glad you
watched
mentioned that
part.
scene, Alex, because
Yeah, awful
Yeah.
fucking scene. Maybe the worst scene. Yeah.
there's so much bad in here that is, you can't even like keep track of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we have notes.
That's why it's on YouTube. You can just scroll through it.
It's on YouTube.
We talked about that film, that crazy film Raw, right?
Yeah.
It's like a really unethical situation. All these like big cats in like this tiny area, and it's clearly like out of control and not safe. But what has come out of it, what has been made, there is this artistic piece in there of value that is a result of it. It's not to condone it or say that was a good thing that it happened, but it's like an interesting piece of expression / art that came as a result of it. So I'm at least glad we have something we can point out.
Yeah.
A few moments later.
One, when you get the right one, like when I saw Talk to Me or that French movie about the Raw, that was a really good one to see with like an invigorated crowd.
Raw?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what's funny? Earlier when you mentioned roar, for a split second I thought you said raw. And now that you say raw, I'm realizing there was no difference between how you said it. So can you say roar and say them how you were saying them earlier, and I'll try to guess which one's which.
Okay, I'll have one in my mind. I'm thinking of the movie Raw right now.
Now say the other one.
The other movie would be the movie Raw.
Damn, I almost thought I had it until you said the other one.
What do you
Well,
reckon? What's the first one?
I think the first one was roar.
Which is which one? The lion one?
Yeah, well, the way I said it, there's a difference.
No, you did get it right. You
Okay,
did get it
good.
right. Yeah. Roar.
Ah!
Roar and roar.
Say that again.
Roar and roar.
No, the way you said it before. The very American accent.
Roar.
Oh my god. That's so it's very unnerving to hear that. Just the accent. Do an American accent the rest of the podcast.
Roar.
Ugh.
I looked in the mirror.
Ay. All right.
We don't like it.
What was the question? You were talking about you were talking about seeing Raw.
RRR drops in 2022, and don't know about you guys, but this one won me over.
How? That's what I need. That's why we're having this conversation. I need to know what was so different about this compared to Bahubali. Because I watched RRR and I was like, this is just fucking Bahubali again, and I was so pissed.
See, that's the thing. Like, there was something about it. I thought the action was better. I thought just everything about it was better. It was like clearer. The characters were better. The motivations of everything was better. Just more consistent in what it was trying to do, and more entertaining in what it was doing. It seemed like it had a way more kind of consistent tone to me.
I would say there's probably less boring scenes. I think I gave this one a star higher than Bahubali, but it's still like it was like I wasn't watching anything for the most part. I was just so not impressed by anything that was happening. It just and it's particularly frustrating because, everybody's going crazy over this movie and I'm just like, this is exactly everything that I've already seen that I go out of my way to avoid when I say I don't like Bollywood movies, even though it's not a Bollywood movie and it's Telugu, even though it's from a different part of India, it's still the same the same goals and sensibilities of like, oh wow, we're doing something like crazy and over the top. Like so unimpressed by it.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing, though. I went into it way more expecting to feel that way, especially like with what I'd heard you guys say about it on the podcast and stuff, and watching Bahubali and not really connecting with it. But yeah, it was that first action scene, I guess spoilers for RRR, the big scale action scene with the guy in the like compound that's like surrounded, and it's like, it's got such a scale to it, and like the action is so like fluid and clear and like wacky and crazy, and it's like all these insane stunts going on. It's like so creative and fun, and the pace is just so insane, and it doesn't let up. That's not even like the best action scene in the movie, because that for me was what was really selling me on it, was like just these these over the top crazy action scenes, all kind of like earnestly presented, and like the melodrama was like just that right level for me. Like I just wasn't feeling it with Bahubali. It wasn't connecting in that way, but the whole like the brothers and like these layers of like undercover operatives, and it's like this epic scale. And yeah, well, you know, like when the title card comes up after that like bridge action sequence, it's like it's
like such a different experience.
40 minutes through the
American movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a long ass movie. It's like 3 hours, 7 minutes.
It's needlessly long.
Yeah. It is kind of too long.
It is inexcusably long.
That would be one thing I'd say against it, is it's a bit too long. And the same way I say the Hobbit movies are too long or indulgent. Yeah, it could have been shorter. I mean, the opening credits were like, weren't they like 5 minutes long or something like that?
Yeah, the credits like lead
just
the
like
movie
the opening
in.
credits.
Everything was just too long.
Yeah, it's like, that's a little too much. I mean, Into the Void, the credits were 30 seconds. It's a very different movie, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it could be cut down a little bit. It did feel a little indulgent. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Like, a thing can be that long if I'm enjoying it the whole time. You know, you brought up Gaspar Noé. Like,
it's hard to keep that up.
Credits are 40 minutes into climax, but I just love what I'm watching. I connect with it more. I get what it's going for more.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it up for 3 hours.
Whereas with this, I'm just like, I don't understand. If everybody loves this movie so much, then why has nobody been talking about every other like big budget Indian movie that's just does the exact same things for all this time? Like,
but have they done them?
This is exactly what I've experienced already.
I'm kind of in the middle of you two, you know, because I see what Alex is saying. I really appreciate the stunts and the action. Like, that stuff is really well done. But I'm also on Adam's side, where I'm like, I wasn't really connecting to the story. Like, you know, I don't really see how it is that different from Bahubali.
It's really not that different.
Or something like that.
I just found it way more consistent. More consistently entertaining. It kept outdoing itself too. Like, I was waiting for that to like really feel the runtime, but it kept like pulling out certain tricks, and it was just like...
And I didn't finish the movie. Like, I didn't finish this movie either, and that's one reason why I say it's too long. I haven't watched the whole thing. I just want to preface that. But, you know, from what I saw, it's like, okay, it's like kind of the same. Yeah, I want something like a little more subtlety, or, you know, drama. Like, I could connect with the brothers storyline. It's very over the top, and I get it. The whole movie's over the top.
See, that's what I love.
I get it. Yeah,
like the lack of subtlety is kind of like the world it creates is like so endearing to me. It's like so cartoony and like exaggerated, and it brings it home with those like action scenes.
I'm not like diminishing your experience of it or like anyone else's if you enjoy it. That's fine. I'm just saying like I didn't. Like, it's just hard for me to like connect to anything going on in it. It's like, you know, it's unrelatable. It's crazy.
I think apparently there's a lot of people that are comfortable diminishing other people's experiences about this movie.
Well, that's like all of
now the quote
now
is that I'm racist because I don't like Bollywood movies, and because I said this is similar to Bollywood movies that I've seen.
I get the same shit. It's people are fucking babies.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even serious. I don't think that they believe that either. I think they're just like trying to get a gotcha.
It's a fucking movie. I mean, but you know, I get it. I get why people, you know, have fun with this. It's that action scene in the middle. Yeah, that is very memorable. It's cool stunts, and I just wish I like connected more to it.
There's one towards the end that is like so good. I was like cackling. It was like so much fun.
I enjoyed was it like spears or bow and arrow? I think there was a bit of both near the end. There was parts of that. Yeah. In that action scene, I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. But I was like, fucking 2 hours and almost 3 hours into the movie. Like, before me to be able to feel like I had fun. It's just not for me. Which scene did you like?
You know, with the kind of prison escape towards the end, where there's a kind of twist reveal halfway through the movie, where like one of the brothers turns out to be like a double agent type figure. So there's like, the movie starts and there's kind of two villainous aspects as the colonizer British assholes that are doing their thing.
Oh yeah,
which is kind of like a fun angle, because that was one of the things I don't really even remember about Bahubali. Like, what was like the core conflict?
There was a prophecy.
No idea.
Was there like a lead villain character though, like a mustache twirling bad guy, like there was in this
there
one?
Might
with
have
the guy
been.
who's like, don't even waste the bullet type thing. Whereas this, it was like really clear, like established in the first scene. You know, where the mum gets like smacked over the head with the piece of wood and stuff. It like just establishes everything really clearly. But then it also has the layer in between that where it has this kind of like antagonist figure with the brother who's like going undercover. And then, it's revealed that he's also like, I guess, spoilers, he was actually working for the good guys the whole time, which then justifies this like prison escape sequence at the end. And it's like this whole bromance and that prison escape scene is like so good. It's like so funny. It's so creative, and it's just so kind of unlike the kind of filmmaking of this scale. That especially like with how tired we are outside of the odd like Top Gun Maverick, I'd say for the most part, there's like a very kind of safe, boring, synthetic kind of look and feel to a bunch of these kind of like movies going for this kind of epic scale where
or like big budget Hollywood movies, like they all look the same, the Jurassic Worlds and whatever, they all blend together. This movie it has a distinct style,
but they never do anything with the action though either. Like they don't do anything like fun, but man, they get creative and crazy with it, and like they are it kind of is a superhero movie in a way. It basically like
it's a Marvel movie from India basically. It's literally what it is.
Even better. But it's better than that though, because like there is that
because it's from India. It has the Indian like over the top.
That's what sells it though. Is that like that tone, that cartoony tone.
Yeah, but they're both things that I don't like, and then you combine them together, and then it's like, okay, you've created something in between those two things that I don't like, but I still don't like either of those things individually. Like it doesn't connect with me.